Some stuff that happens in video games is straight cold. And I don't mean Frostpunk cold, I mean interrupts the sentence, "I've got a family and kids," by pulling the trigger cold. Just grim to even say. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanks, 10 cold AF scenes in video games. And yes, I'm willing to say the family line and not the F word in the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video. People's lives depend on this ad revenue. Without any further ado, starting off at number 10, nobody can stop the Doom guy from Doom Eternal. This iconic scene perfectly encapsulates who you're playing as in Doom Eternal. You're not just any old demon-slaying tough guy. You're a living legend that both demons and mankind fear. I am, of course, talking about the scenes that take place in the Mars core level. You almost never see other humans in the game, so when they do show up, it's kind of surreal. Everybody, they're terrified of you. People stand up and take notice when you enter a room. This one guy, he's too afraid to even move. So Doom guy just grabs the key card on his lanyard and uses it to open a door with the guy still attached. Some guards actually have the gall to try to stop you, but he gets completely shut down, and the Slayer just takes the gun from his hand and continues into the mission.
You can't be here.
No respect at all. Rodney Dangerfield had it better than that guard. Cold. Of course, the ultimate act of coldness happens later when you get the BFG 10,000 cannon. The voice in your ear begs you not to blow up Mars, but this guy doesn't care about the UFC or whatever dumb projects these guys were getting up to. He is here to slay demons. If blowing up Mars is the fastest way to do it, he'll do it. And he does, and it's glorious. Easily one of the all-time great cold AF moments in gaming. Just incredible. At number 9 is the Electrocutioner boss fight from Batman Arkham Origins. Boss fight in scare quotes, of course. Remember this part? There's 8 assassins hunting Batman in a single night, and this guy's the first one you encounter. If you never heard of him, there's a reason for that. They try to build him up a little, having him boast about how he's gonna kill you, then jumpstart your heart, and then kill you again.
I'll kill you, then I'm gonna jumpstart your heart, and kill you again.
Makes me think of Motley Crue. He does have those intimidating electricity gloves, to be fair, and they could have made for a challenging boss encounter. But what does Batman do? He kicks this bozo in the face and moves on. Sorry, pal, you're just not on Bat's level. This Joker, not the Joker, this Joker crumbles faster than your common goon, and it's probably just because Bat is normally pulling his punches, or at least that's what I assume. Either way, the utter disrespect is amazing. Batman doesn't even blink taking this idiot down. Oh, and to add insult to injury, Batman steals his tech too, so he basically leaves him with nothing. Even in his untested origins form, Batman is still the ultimate badass, and wannabe bad guys like the Electrocutioner, they have no chance against him. As a bona fide boss fighter lover, I was a little disappointed when I saw the scene originally, but looking back on it, yeah, it's absolutely what should have happened. At number 8 is the final confrontation with Sam from Mafia Definitive Edition. This is one of the most justified cold as fuck moments on the list, but pretty brutal still. At the end of Mafia, your guy Tommy Angelo is confronted by his former friend and ally Sam. There's a big climactic shootout, Sam goes down, and that's when this scene happens. The important thing to remember is that for most of the game, Sam and Tommy were buddies. He's the guy that's with you for a whole lot of missions, at least at first, and he came off as the cool-headed, sensible one. Even in the end, he's playing it cool, but Tommy isn't having any of it. Sam tries to appeal to their friendship, reminiscing about the good old days. Oh man, remember when we were friends and I was the cool-headed, sensible one and you were the hot-headed guy? Don't be the hot-headed guy. Just listen to the cool-headed, sensible one today, here, now. I think he pleads his case a little better than that. Not a lot, though. Because, to allude back to how I started this video, Tommy's just kind of done at this point and doesn't even wait for him to finish. He shoots Sam mid-sentence.
We sure had some laughs, right? Remember that time? Me, you, and Polly.
Doesn't say a word. Tommy doesn't try to refute him or argue with him or anything. He's just tired. An important thing to remember is that Tommy isn't some saint in this. He's being hunted by the family not because of some noble deed. It's because he robbed the bank, botched it, and ended up killing a bunch of people. So no matter how you slice it, this confrontation is just cold. At number 7 is Arthur at his worst in Red Dead Redemption 2. As an open world game protagonist, Arthur Morgan can be good or as bad as you want him to be, but in the story he's played as more of a reluctant thug who isn't necessarily violent, but his loyalty to the gang pushes him to do things he doesn't want to do, or at least wouldn't normally do. For the most part, he comes off as a pretty decent guy despite everything, so when this moment happens, it's kind of shocking. I'm talking about 2 moments here, but they connect. The first happens during the throwaway mission, Money Lending and Other Sins 3, when you're collecting a debt for Strauss. Arthur tends to be pretty forceful with his debt collecting, but this mission really brings out his nasty side. He beats this poor guy within an inch of his life. When the guy says he can't repay the money, Arthur suggests selling his wife and child, which, damn, dude.
Then sell your wife, or your family, or something. We ain't your idea of charity. Is that clear?
At least he stops there and recognizes the guy doesn't have anything. The follow-up's even colder, though. A later mission called Sodom, back of Gomorrah, has Arthur return to the house to collect the debt. The man's dead, and the son seems to be itching for revenge. This is where Arthur drops one of the coldest lines of all time with,
Well, maybe when your mother's finished mourning your father, I'll keep her in black, on your behalf. You think on that, boy?
which if you're thinking is some kind of like sexual innuendo, you're completely wrong. He's saying he'll also kill the son, which is a hell of a thing to say to a family that just lost a father. I think Arthur is trying in his way to avert further bloodshed, but it still sounds cold as hell. At number 6 is Shamming Bruise in Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Remember Bruise? One of the most entertaining orcs in the game. Big, boisterous bruiser. Right? Bruiser. Anyway, he seemed to be just following you for the fun of it. He's got a lot of the best lines in the game, and he's actually an overall welcome presence in the story that often feels like it is a very overly serious story. Sometimes a little too serious. But with Bruise, it's all fun and games until things get a little grim. Like, when I say a little grim, I'm understating it. It's real grim, actually. At a certain point in the story, Bruise betrays you and becomes an enemy. It's a real slap in the face, because, like, come on, it's our guy. It's the comedy Australian orc. Everybody loves Bruise, but now he's trying to kill you. And him being a bad guy, it kind of sucks. But the ice-cold moment in the game is when you get him back. This is where the game introduces the shame mechanic, where Talion can use his domination powers to bring an unruly orc down a peg. The results are not pretty, though. They turn Bruise, a normally pretty chipper dude, into a mumbling wreck.
We are even.
I don't want the fort. I don't want the fort. I never wanted the fort.
Is that Bruise?
I mean, I know the domination stuff in these games is kind of messed up when you think about it, but this is taking it a little far. When you start feeling sorry for the orcs, maybe you should start rethinking things, because the whole shame stuff is a little messed up. You have to do it, too.
Now every orc in Mordor will think twice before challenging us.
At number 5, everything you do in the Brotherhood in Saints Row 2. There's cold and then there's straight up sociopathic. And this entry, I think, is probably more the latter than the further. The Brotherhood arc starts off pretty simple enough. You meet the leader of the gang, he offers you territory and an alliance, but of course you want to rule the entire city, and this is an open world crime game, so you gotta turn the map purple. So you reject the offer, and in retaliation, because this was a bad deal, you put radioactive waste in the guy's tattoo ink.
Baby?
The opening volleys of this gang war start with you burning the boss's face off, and it gets worse from there. Sure, Mayero does some pretty nasty stuff to you, but when you start to feel sorry for the bad guy, maybe things are going a little too far. Like this part where you seriously knock the bad guy's girlfriend out and put her in the trunk of the bad guy's monster truck in a demolition derby. She gets obviously completely pulverized, because Christ. Even for a game where you play as a comedic sociopath, that's far. I feel like Trevor from GTA 5 would even be like disturbed by that.
I'm gonna kill you right here, right now.
No, you're not.
What's this?
Do me a favor. When you check the trunk, just remember you should have offered me something better than 20%.
At number 4 is stopping Mordin in Mass Effect 3. The story of Mass Effect 3 remains at least somewhat divisive nowadays, but the part a lot of people think is the best is the section on the Krogan homeworld of Tuchanka. You know, where you decide the ultimate fate of the genophage, the virus made to drastically lower the Krogan population. It was basically meant to be a soft genocide, but it ultimately decimated their people. The guy who created the genophage was Mordin, and while in the second game he tries to justify his decision, ultimately he changes his mind and creates a cure. That's the setup, and you're going into this tower to release a cure that'll fix the Krogans and redeem Mordin. As you're approaching the end of the session, you're given another choice. Certain individuals want you to sabotage this cure instead, so you're given a choice: either help Mordin or stop him. Most players are going to side with him because, first, he's a fan favorite character from the second game. Second, what you do when you don't is really cold. It gets cold fast, too. At the climax, Mordin figures out your deceit. Shepard points a gun at him, and he gives an impassioned plea to go through with releasing the cure. And at the end, he says there's no time and tries to get in the elevator. That's when you're given the option to shoot Mordin in the back, which, damn, dude. This isn't some guy. This is one of your companions who's trying to reverse a horrible injustice that he was responsible for, and you shoot him in the back. Even Shepard realizes how bullshit this is. He throws the gun away in anger after you do it. At number 3, the ending of The Last of Us. No matter how you choose to interpret the ending, whether it was justified or the doom of mankind, no denying one thing, it was absolutely ice cold. If you're unaware, the ending of The Last of Us throws a complex moral dilemma at us, but Joel cuts through the bullshit. In order for the Fireflies to potentially create a cure or some kind of counter agent or whatever for the cordyceps, you know, the zombie mushrooms, they have to kill Ellie, the girl Joel's been protecting the entire game. For him, that's too high a price. Even it could potentially save thousands, if not millions of lives. He goes on a rampage through the hospital, kills everybody he sees. And I mean, it's at least somewhat understandable. But some of the stuff he does at the end it's harder to justify. When you get to the surgery room, a doctor refuses to get out of Joel's way. And no matter what you do, this guy has to die, so Joel just kills him, even though he's clearly not a danger in any way.
I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
You fucking animal!
Carrie, shut the hell up.
The coldest moment is when Joel runs into Marlene. In a lot of ways, she's meant to be Ellie's surrogate mother, and Joel just shoots her. And then instead of leaving her there, he just deliberately decides to kill her to avoid anyone coming after him. She's completely unarmed and helpless at this point, and Joel just shoots her. I mean, he was right. They wouldn't have just left him alone after everything he did, but still, that's cold.
Wait! Let me go! Please.
You just come after her.
At number 2 is Gomang's Fate from Nine Souls. For a game that's, you know, playing a cute little cat guy, it is pretty brutal. Not just talking about the combat either. Sure, it's hard, but it doesn't go nearly as hard as this one cutscene. It's one of the most messed up, cold-hearted moments I've ever seen in a game, and it's just incredible how dark and cruel it is. So, the second boss of the game is Gomang. He uses creepy zombified monsters to do her bidding. They're children whose brains have been implanted into these things, with mind control rings that force them to be obedient. Basically, Gomang is an evil as hell character. Like, you're kind of expecting them to get some kind of comeuppance, but even still, it's a damn dude moment. So you get to the end of her area. The boss is just a pain in the ass. She's got her 2 goons. She only appears in battle to revive them. It's infuriating. Somehow, it still manages to be one of the easier fights in the game, if you can believe it, despite the fact that it will infuriate you, for sure. So you beat her, and then things get really dark. First, your cute little cat dude cuts off her wings so she can't fly, leaving her arms as bloody stumps, and then puts a mind control device on her head so she's completely mindless. You don't even kill her, you just leave her there, dead-eyed and bleeding out while your children beg her to wake up. There's dark, and then there's this. This is Ice Age levels of cold. What the hell, game? And then finally, at number 1, press O to Abandoned Child. This one's from God of War Chains of Olympus, and sometimes the simplest moments are the ones that hit the hardest. There's no grand revenge or complex emotions here the player has to sort through, just a ghost white Greek guy and his daughter who he killed by mistake. Okay, so maybe it is a little complicated. At the end of God of War Chains of Olympus, Kratos ends up in Elysium, the good Greek afterlife. There, he finds his daughter, who he was tricked into killing in the original God of War. She wants him to stay there with her, but Kratos has bigger fish to fry. He needs to regain his powers and save the world, and the only way to do it is to reject his daughter. It's understandable, but it's the coldest thing. Kratos' daughter hugs him, and the only way to progress is to literally push her away by tapping circle.
He knew there was but one thing to do.
Father, please!
It's a sequence that manages to be sad and kind of hilarious at the same time because she really wants Kratos to stay and Kratos really wants to go. It's basically like that cliche where the kid has to get rid of the dog. Kratos is basically shouting, "Get out of here, I don't want you anymore," and throwing rocks at his daughter. It's absurd. Absurdly cold, that is. I do have one bonus for you here. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's when Shepard does his betrayal thing. This is more of a shocking betrayal. We've talked about it a few times. But it's got to be said, it's still one of the most cold moments in anything ever. Shepard turns on your guys on a dime. He kills Ghost without batting an eye, and both characters get thrown into a ditch and burned in the most dismissive and uncaring way possible. And he's just like, "Got my stuff? Cool." And he shoots you.
Do you have the DSM? We got it, sir. Good. That's one less loose end. No!
It's this pure dead-eyed indifference, and it instantly makes you hate this dude. It's totally over the top, but it does work. Sure, Modern Warfare 2 is basically just a bunch of big moments slapped together in an almost incoherent mess, but that's what we're here for with the COD campaign, right? Big moments. And this game delivers on them with a crazy, crazy cold twist like this. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.